And I can hear them Perkins calling. At least my brother Perk could call. I wish my brother Perk could call. At least he beat that murder charge. This is a Mozzie lyric. We're not talking about rappers. One of the best rappers in the game. We're talking about Warhammer. I was gonna say Dungeons and Dragons there for a second. I don't know why. Let's move in to the topic of today's video. We're gonna infiltrate the topic, man. Got the Blyhauler here. Pow! And we're gonna be painting some Plague Marines. I'm totally not looking for something else to watch on YouTube while I do this. Well, listen to while I paint. So don't hate, man. I like to listen to things while I talk sometimes, because it helps to have background noise and to not. I get distracted. Either way, I'm start tripping about stuff that's like outside of my house, or stuff that I'm listening to. So. Whatever. We're talking about the end of soup lists. What do I mean by that? There's no more soup? What? No more soup in Warhammer? What is this world coming to? How are we going to play if we do not have any soup with which to play with? Well, let me tell you. Good people, I need to get more batteries up in this, I think. Soup's not quite dead. The soup that we knew before, where it was like Wide Chaos Imperium soup, where it was like, we'll say, we'll take my Death Guard army, for example. I could bring an Alpha Legion detachment sworn to Slaanesh. I can still... I'm pretty sure if I can swear to Nurgle, I can still bring Alpha Legion. Instead of bringing it Slaanesh, I swear to Nurgle. The keyword that they share is Nurgle. You can't... And I get it, you can't do things like Black Legion cultists, whoop doop doop doop. And to a certain extent, like, the soup's for sure dead. But in other ways, didn't change anything for my Death Guard Chaos demons. Nurgle Demons Death Guard list, they don't change shit for that, man. They still work together just fine. Just fine. So, what's the big change here? I guess that's what, you know... Like, it doesn't allow people to bring, like, Bobby G with Raven Guard. I think it's also a nerf to, what's their I can't remember what they're called right now. Frick. I want to say Asuryani, but that's definitely not it. The Yanari. It might have been a Yanari nerf. Like, there's a few things. The soup was getting gross, guys. Come on. The soup was getting nasty. There was no flavor in any of these soups. It was all just chemicals. Just potent chemicals, just cocktails of death, disease, and I like that as Death Guard, but here's the thing. It doesn't make for an interesting game. Oh, but Timmy, when you get shit that's too broken, it drives people away, man. They don't want to play a game that has no people bouncing it to play it. And I'm actually really happy with what Games Workshop has been doing lately to, I don't know. I was going to say incorporate, but that's definitely not the word we're looking for. To respond to the player base in a positive way, showing that they're willing to manifest change for not only themselves, but us as players of the game. And I think this was an important one. It did change. It changed things. I think you can still do certain soupy things. But in order to do these certain soupy things, you have to de-soup. You have to take out the celery salt, as it were, which is a key ingredient to a lot of recipes. If you miss that celery salt, you're fucking up. Just saying. If you're cooking something that calls for celery salt and you don't put it in there, and you're wondering why it doesn't taste spot on, it's the celery salt, dog. And that's actually a perfect analogy for this. It's like, yeah, this stops that last minor key ingredient from sliding through to take it from, you know, a 5 out of 10 list to an 11 out of 10 list, right? Give it that, I mean, that's, I think, even too much. You know, take it from an 8 to a 9, a 9 to a 10, and 10 to an 11. You get what I'm going. Knocked it up a couple points. So, how could you soup if you really want to soup? You gotta find keywords that they share. You know, maybe you can still run Adeptus Astartes lists together. I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure I can run my Nurgle list. Pretty sure Nurgle everything sworn Nurgle would still run as a detachment. So maybe don't despair the loss of your list just yet, because if it's a mono deity list that, you know, you're only bringing Slaanesh, you're only bringing this, that, or the other thing, you know, it's probably going to turn out all right for you, because you're not actually completely functioning off keyword chaos, keyword Nurgle. That works. Nurgle Daemons, Nurgle. As far as I know, I mean, I've definitely been wrong before. Like with that Plague Flail list thing, that's not actually how it works, but whatever. What we should take away from this is especially these days, don't get comfortable, Holmes. Don't sleep on Blizzard, not Blizzard, Games Workshop pulling the fucking rug out from underneath you, dog. Because they probably will. If you, these days especially, maybe consider your army, instead of as the thing, especially with these updates coming, is by what I mean by that. All of these updates, maybe instead of your army is the way you're going to play it all the way through 8th. Maybe picture it as, you know, the army you're going to play through the next major rules change. And I think this does kind of encourage, especially with the new other rules, especially like the unit limiting rules. It's pretty interesting. It'll lead to what I say is more thematic lists. More, you know, more lists in general that are different than spam. Because I was running some spam lists. Your boy was running some spam. 8 Stormboy groups? Come on, dog. What's that? You ain't call that spam? Please. Call that Spammy Johnson. Call that Spammy Bronsolino. I think that we should talk about what the rules changes itself. It says that there's a rule change to the way that Battle Brothers are allied factions are manifested in their keyword usage. You can no longer use the keywords Chaos, Eldar, Drukhari, Yanari, Imperium, and I think that's it. Notice they didn't put in things like Astra Militarum. I don't know if they did, actually, but... You know, with this... My one friend did actually point out something kind of interesting. It makes Bobby G not as good as he used to be. And the reason is because it nerfs his command ability that he has. Because his one aura that gives all the friendly Imperium units buffs is less effective because it's harder to field friendly Imperium units with this less list selection. And you know, he was right. And that's an interesting point. I actually didn't even begin to think about that, but you know, that's why I talk to people about these sort of things. It's part of the Bobby G nerf that's going down. And I don't know, man. I see a lot of salty people. I'm not exactly salty. I'm down. Like, I may not be the most happy about all of the decisions that are being made, but I weigh this against a Games Workshop not making changes and not making an effort, right? This is like, to me, I'm of two minds about it. Like, I've basically no other game company that I know of right now is listening to the populace like Games Workshop is, or at least attempting to. They're not updating shit like this, dog. Come on now. Like, the Star Wars miniatures game that I played, the erratas were few and far between. And that's usually the way it is. Usually the erratas are few and far between. And you might think that all these erratas are a bad thing, but, you know, it refreshes play and fixes errors in development. It's important to have these things. It's important to constantly be adjusting the rules and having the people that make the game change important things like the way you make detachments. It's one of the core parts of, I guess, playing the game. You change such massive things, and some people think it's like, you know, the worst thing ever, but honestly, I think it's a great thing because, you know, not every choice is going to be fantastic, but they're at least willing to listen, and they're gonna be doing something about it, you know? At least they're trying to do something about it. And the problems that we have are being attempted to being remunerated, right? So maybe instead of like thinking about how hard you're getting screwed, guys, because, you know, this affects me. Come on, I was gonna bring a really gross list that involved Death Guard and Slaanesh. I can't do that no more, but hey, I'm kind of happy about it because that's sort of, oh, look at those tentacles. It sort of nerfs. Timmy, you painted this model before? Yeah, I did. That I primed him in a rush. And yeah, it's great to have a living rule, like a living game, where the rules change all the time. The things that are overpowered are being tweaked, being worked with, being changed. And you know, I know Games Workshop is a model company first before it's a game company. But right now, they're doing a real good job at making a game that makes me and my friends feel like they're trying to improve the play experience for us. That's very important. I'll catch you guys later.